Okay, welcome to the ETD tutorial video 4. In this video we're going to be talking about captioning and creating lists of figures and tables. So first we're going to talk about what are captions. We're also going to talk about how do I add a caption to a figure or a table. And we're going to talk about how to modify those captions and how to create a list of figures and or tables from the captions that you've added to your paper. Okay. Here's the document that I used in the last video when we talked about creating a table of contents. And the first thing I want to do before I add captions is I need to get some figures in here to add captions to. To do that, I'm going to use just pictures. So I'm going to put my cursor wherever I'd like to add a figure. Here I'm going to have one in Chapter 2. And I'm going to go to the Insert menu and go to Picture and go to From File. And I'm just going to use some of the default pictures that come with Office. I'll use this one here. Click Insert. And you'll see here now I have a figure in my document. Now the rule states that you have to put captions below figures and above tables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor below my image that I just inserted. And I'm going to go to Insert, Reference, and Caption. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure that the caption style is correct. For instance, here it is labeled figure, which is correct. It could come up labeled table. And if I was inserting a table, that would be appropriate. So I'm going to label mine as figure. And I'm going to click up on the box. And I'm going to call this picture. And click OK. So you'll see it added the figure 1 caption right below the image. And one thing I need to tell you is that the numbers here in the figure captions are actually active lists. So if I was to add another figure caption here by going to Insert, Reference, Caption, and as you can see, you don't actually have to have a figure in the document to add a caption. So you could actually apply your captions ahead of time and then come back later and add your actual figures or tables. So this would be like, let's say a placeholder for picture 2, and click OK. And you'll notice that it's actually updated the number list to be 2. If I was to go before this, and let's go in the previous chapter, I'll put my cursor here. I'm actually in Chapter 1 now. And I did the same thing, Insert, Reference, Caption. You'll notice it says figure 1. If I click OK, there's figure 1. Now this is figure 2, and my placeholder became figure 3. So you can see as you add or subtract captions, the numbers themselves in the captions are numbered lists. And for this reason, you cannot go in and type over this number or erase this part of the name of the figure for any reason. If you do, the numbered list will void, and you'll have to end up going back and adding your captions back to most of your figures to actually get it to work again. So if you need to change something about this, you actually change it when you add it. Or if you needed to change the name of this, you would actually just take this out entirely, go back through the Insert, Reference, Caption procedure to make the changes. So what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the style of this. This is a little bit of a small font, and I'm not really sure I want it to be bold. And I'm thinking maybe I want to have mine centered. So anytime you're clicked onto the actual figure itself, you'll notice up here where we have our styles that it says caption. If I was to click off of this, that would go away. And can you notice caption doesn't even appear in the list here? That's because you can only adjust it if you're clicked on one of the captions. Now the caption style will affect all captions, whether they're figures or tables or whatever. So when you go in here and adjust it, just like you would adjust any other style by clicking Modify, it will affect all the captions globally. So I'm going to make mine unbold and make it 12-point font. I think I'm going to center it. And you'll notice that it actually applied it to all the captions, even the caption up here. And now that I have this, I can make a list of these, which is simple enough. So if I go up here to List of Figures, just like when we did Table of Contents, we put our cursor where we want the list to start. We go to Insert, we go to References, we go to Indexes and Tables, and we click on Table of Figures. And you'll notice here it actually came up as figure automatically. If you weren't doing a list of tables, let's say, or a list of figures rather, you were doing a list of tables, it would be easy enough. You can just go right here to caption label and change this to tables, and that way it'll actually go through the entire document and look for the tables instead of the figures. So I'm going to do a list of figures. I'm going to click that, and just like with the table of contents, you have the same options to modify the style as you did with the table of contents. You can modify the style any way you like here. It will show here, it'll show you the actual coding for the style. And since there's only one style in a list, you don't have like table of contents, you don't have levels here. So you only have the table of figures style. So you click OK. And when you feel like this is pretty much what you want, you click OK there, and you'll see, here we go, figure 1, 2, and 3, and the page numbers off to the right. Now, you'll notice that between my table of contents and my list of figures, there's very little difference. The only real difference here is that the list of figures are created not from the styles like you have here, they're created from the captions, and those are the things that I actually added here. So you can have any number of captions, you can have figures, you can even name new captions if you wanted to. If I wanted to say create a custom caption here in chapter 3, I could go to insert reference caption, and if I don't want either a figure or a table or an equation, I could click new label, just like that, and click OK, and you'll notice here that it actually added it. And if I click OK, caption 1, I could add another one here, insert reference, and it will remember the, it'll actually add it to the list, so it will remember it. Once I created it one time, it gets treated exactly like the default ones that are here. So I could click OK, and it's also a numbered list. It made this one 2 and that one 1. If I was to add another one somewhere above number 1, it would actually change the list to accommodate it. If I wanted to make a list of captions, all I would have to do is go up here and make a new page by holding down Control, hitting Enter to get a page break. Say list of captions. And of course, I'm going to need to give this a heading style, so I can add it to my table of contents. That's a heading 1. And I'll go up and update my table of contents. And you'll notice here, list of captions was added. And then, put my cursor where I want the list to start. Click Insert, Reference, Indexes and Tables, Table of Figures. You'll notice it actually came up with caption, and it will actually do this. It'll come up with whatever was the last caption that you had added to the document. This will always come up in that style. If it had come up as figures, all I have to do is go right here and change that to caption. Click OK, and there you have caption 1, caption 2. So that can be anything you want it to be. Any lists of things that you would want to point out in the document and have a separate list for, you could do that using this tool. Now, what happens if I want to go back and I want to adjust a caption? I just want to change the wording of a caption. For instance, if I wanted to change the caption that says picture here to actually say picture 1, what I could do, I can actually, just like with the table of contents, I can hold down the Control key and I can follow this link, and I could change the wording here to picture 1. Now, you'll notice I did not add this up in the list. I didn't type that in the list. I typed it down here. Then I'm going to go back up to the list, right click on it, update field, just like with the table of contents, update entire table, click OK. And you'll notice it added it right there. Very important. You cannot type this in up here. If I was to type up here where it says figure 1, if I was to type, 1, 2, 3 in this list, if I didn't add it down here, okay, and it won't add it. If I type it up here, it won't add it down here. The first time I go up here and I update the field, it's gone, because it always synchronizes these lists with what we have in the paper. Same goes for the table of contents. Same would go for my list of captions or list of tables or any number of lists that I want to create. Well, this concludes the training on adding captions to figures and tables, creating captions, and creating lists of captions in your paper. In the next video, we're going to talk about applying pagination properly. We're going to go through the steps necessary to create proper pagination where your front matter has lowercase Roman numerals and the rest of your paper will have standard Arabic numerals.